Hello and welcome to another Toffee Blues video, your source for all things Everton. I'm Louis. This is another player ratings video off the back of another disappointing collapse from a 2-0 position against Aston Villa this weekend. Start with the game as a whole. Again, so frustrating. Just doesn't feel like we're getting the look, the I wouldn't even say we deserve really. It's been such a difficult start to the season for the Blues, and Doncaster aside in the Cup, all the defeats have been in a really bad manner as well, which is even more worrying when you look at the start of last season. Obviously, we all know we didn't get off to a good start, but it was 2 home 1-0 defeats where we were all over the opposition. Villa away last year was the only one sort of similar to the Spurs one this year, but a 4-0 hammering, a 3-0 home defeat with a red card, and then 2-0 leads to collapse. The players look devoid of confidence at the minute, and it's up to Deitch and his team to turn that round and quickly, because the Premier League can be very unforgiving, and we need to start picking up points very, very quickly. The game itself, I actually thought Everton weren't too bad. I thought we started as expected, sitting in deep. We know that we've not got the greatest side in the world, so we're going to have to soak up a lot of pressure, and we were doing that. We then hit them on the counter with a fantastic goal, get another one shortly after from a good set piece and a good header. And then 2 horrendous mistakes that you can't account for as a manager and as for the teammates as well. And then a screamer for the last goal from John Duran, mixed in with the usual of missed chances from us, but we'll get onto that as we go. So we'll start with the player ratings off of another disappointing result. So Jordan Pickford, one man I didn't think can be blamed the slightest for what went on. 6.5 for me. Really fine stop on the hour mark to deny Ollie Watkins the equaliser. Unfortunately for him, Jack Harrison done that for him, and then obviously Villa were back in the game. But Jordan, again, his distribution solid, commanded his box well, and no chance with any of the goals. First one, you expect your centre-half to deal with that. Second one, it's popped straight to, and the third one, again, the lads hit a screamer. So 6.5 for Jordan Pickford, who I'm sure is as frustrated as the rest of us right now. Ashley Young next. I actually thought Young had a decent game. Someone who comes in for a bit of stick online often, and it can be deserved as well. Some of the decisions he makes can be rash, but I thought that he dealt really well with the threat of Villa's wide players on both sides, the right and the left, when he had to change following Mikalenko's injury in the first half. And it was a solid enough performance from Ashley Young. Again, no part in any of the goals, and a 6.5 for me in a decent performance from him. Man of the match next. It's surprising that I'm giving a man of the match in the defence when we've threw away a 2-goal lead, but I thought Tarkowski was excellent. Yet again, I thought he was solid against Bournemouth. I didn't think he could do anything again about the goals, and it was the same this time. As soon as Jared's back, I do think that the back line will shore up, and I understand the fears that, yes, he's only one player, and one player can't really have that much of an impact sometimes, but I think the uncertainty around the whole back line at the minute is affecting people, and mistakes are being punished as they are in the top flight of English football. So Jared cuts them out, and as I say, with Tarkowski now back in form, there's some great blocks, defended well. It's always an interesting battle between Tarkowski and Watkins as well, and I actually thought, despite Watkins scoring 2, obviously they were nothing to do with Tarkowski. I thought he had a good game, so a 7 out of 10 for me, and much more like it from our vice captain. Keane next, 5 out of 10. The first goal is inexcusable for a centre-half who's 6'4". It's difficult to continue to legislate for these errors, especially as a manager, and as much as, again, I actually thought Everton set up quite well, got the 2-goal lead, questions have to be asked again around the selection of Keane. He's a player who looks short of confidence, looks a little bit nervy, and he's making big mistakes at big times again. And again, I don't want to pile on Michael Keane because he gets enough stick as it is. But the first goal is particularly poor, and then I thought that throughout the afternoon he was second to most things, and it was another difficult afternoon for him. Albeit O'Brien didn't set the world alight when he come on. He looked fairly solid. I had almost given up watching the game at that point, to be fair. I had the darts on my phone in the pub, watching it on the screen. So But he looked okay. Keane, on the other hand, you've got to continue to ask the question, why have we persisted with him for so long when it's clearly of such a harm to the team, as I'm sure many of you will have seen the stats over Twitter as well. So without piling on to Michael Keane, it was another difficult afternoon for the centre-back, and it's a 5 out of 10 for me. Mikalenko next, again, wasn't on very long, 6 out of 10, didn't get done, and hopefully his illness sorted itself out and he can be back midweek. Idrissa Gana Gueye, solid enough again. Everton, I wouldn't say we got overran in midfield. I don't think that we dominated the midfield as we did in even the Bournemouth defeat and to an extent the Brighton defeat. Again, it wasn't domination, but we certainly looked like we had control of it in those home games. I don't think we were controlling the midfield. We were more having to obviously stay in a mid-low block type setup and winning second balls, but I don't think we did enough to keep hold of it throughout the game. But Ghana, again, lots of energy, lots of legs, and a 6 out of 10, solid enough. Tim Irobinum next, again, 6, probably his quietest game for Everton, but didn't do an awful lot wrong, and again, similar to Ghana, lots of energy, lots of legs. Thought he was very harshly booked. Again, these referees, I don't know where they get them from. But a 6 out of 10 for me. Harrison next, really disappointed for Harrison. As I am for Keane, obviously, it's never nice when you see an Everton player making a mistake. But Harrison in particular, because I thought he set the second goal up with his work rate. We were actually down to 10 at that point with Mikalenko off the pitch and Garner not yet on, and he managed to keep the ball against Luca Dean, who we all know is obviously a very, very solid left-back in the Premier League, and carving out that chance for us, got us the goal. He worked tirelessly throughout the game, and then unfortunately he makes a mistake while he's still working really hard. You'd rather him track the run. In a weird sense, you'd rather him make that mistake than just watch in you go and square it. But again, it's so frustrating when we're working so hard to stay in the game and we're under the cosh and then we give a goal away like that. So due to that, it's again, like Keane, it's down to a 5.5 for Harrison, because obviously the second goal happened. DCL next. I thought first half Calvert-Lewin was superb. Again, like I say about Tarkowski and Watkins, I always enjoy watching Calvert-Lewin v Konza whenever we face Aston Villa. And Dom was given as good as he got in the first half. I thought his link-up was fantastic, holding the ball up really well, bringing players into the game, took his goal superbly. We know he's deadly in the air from that kind of region. And it was another really strong performance from Calvert-Lewin. He kept that going all through the second half again. I thought his hold-up was good, his link was good. However, the 2 chances, for me, he's got to put one of them away. I'll save criticism on him because at the end of the day, again, we're 2-0 up and we've conceded 3 goals yet again. Certainly the first 2 being very preventable. So Calvert-Lewin's second should have put the game beyond sight. It didn't. So he's got to put one of them away, whether it's squaring it to Ndiaye, being more ruthless. And then I actually thought Martinez got a touch on the second one, but even so, one of them's got to go in. So unfortunately, his rating's lowered to a 6 for that. But his hold up again, Dom, he's going to have a really good season. You can see it early. He's in the goals again, 2 already in 4. Hopefully he can keep that going, and as I say, his hold up play and his runs in behind, he's a nightmare to defend against him. Very important for Everton. So a 6 out of 10 for Dom. McNeil next. Thought McNeil had a really good game. He took his goal superbly, nicking the ball off Onana, driving at Konza, and then took it superbly to curl it away from Emi Martinez as well. Set up Calvert-Lewin's first chance of the second half as well with a really well-timed through ball. And, you know, with McNeil, he's never going to stop working. He works really hard for the team, and he was certainly one player, again, who didn't deserve to be on the receiving end of another collapsing defeat. But a 6.5 for Dwight, who, again, is playing himself into form, I think. And Ndiaye next, a little bit quieter yesterday, again, against a very good Aston Villa side. He's still ambitious, still driving on to take people on. Cleared one off the line early doors from, I think, a Konza header. But again, very impactful in what he does. You know that he's going to drive at people. You know he's going to take people on. And as much as you imagine that can be predictable, he's got enough in the locker to make sure that it's not. And he's going to be a massive player for Everton this season. And a 6 out of 10 because it was a little bit quieter than he was against Bournemouth. But a really good purchase from those involved in getting the deal over the line. So a 6 out of 10 for Ndiaye. Onto the subs, James Garner, 6. I thought he could close the first goal down a little bit better. Give him a little bit too much time, but again, he's not a right back. He's a centre midfielder. We know he can do a job there, and for the most part, he did. But having to play your centre mid at right back 4 games into the season is a really disappointing thing, and a sign of how, what's the word? How the correct signings weren't made, in my opinion. I think we were desperate for a right back. I know Patterson's coming back, but to have James Garner coming on at right back at such an early stage of the season, when he's played there before on the last day against Bournemouth, it springs to mind. We had all full-backs out, but we had enough throughout the season. To have to put your centre mid right back 4 games in is a poor in recruitment, really. So that was particularly disappointing. But a 6 because he was fairly solid, but again could have closed down a little bit better for the first goal, but he was out of position. The last 4 subs, again, I had the darts on by this point. I was still watching it, but I knew the goal was coming. So O'Brien, 6 again, looked okay from the bits that I saw. Mangala got a little bit of stick on Twitter. Didn't think he really could have done anything for the 3rd goal. And from what I saw, was fairly ineffective. Didn't do too much, but again, he's got to get up to speed. He's got to get Deitch fit, if you will. I'll probably get stick for using that quote, but he's got to get up to speed and ready. So a 6 for him. Beto again, 6. He wasn't on long enough to make an impact, and the same with Lindstrom, 6. The one thing that is certain, though, obviously we've got Southampton in midweek and then Leicester. I think we've got to go at least unbeaten in those 2 games. I think another defeat, whether it's in the cup, all of a sudden it's going to be a really toxic atmosphere at Leicester. And even if we win in the cup, all of a sudden, if we lose to Leicester, it's 5 games on the spin. So it's really crucial now that the Deitch starts to pick up points again. I'm backing him. I'm still behind him, but he's got to turn it round and quickly, because, as I said earlier, in the Premier League, things can change very quickly. But Southampton next, up the toffees, keep putting ourselves through this, and eventually something will turn. Thanks for watching. Let us know all your thoughts, and up the toffees.